you know. Oh, hey, Zayden. Yeah. It's probably not gonna be too bad, but in these like 4 squares right here, I need to put hay bales because there's hay bales everywhere else, and it's gonna be like really, really annoying. So go get some hay bales. Well, we're not just gonna grab hay bales out of nowhere, of course. But why is it in peaceful? Normally it's not a peaceful world, it's normally on normal. And by the way, guys, just to prove something to you guys, cheats are off. You can see they're off, they've never been on, so yeah. Get some hay bales, I guess. No, you see, no, normally we don't mine these, we will just, this is mainly for, like, decoration, the wheat fields, because eventually we're gonna, we mine the carrots, but, like, mainly the wheat fields are for decoration, because we're kind of doing a medieval city type thing. Eventually, when this medieval city is gonna be done, it's a medieval-esque city kind of revolving around the mansion, and eventually we'll put walls encasing it, and I actually have a plan of where I want some of the walls. I'll show you that real fast. Definitely no fireworks, so let me grab some real fast. Just over here. This blue concrete marks where the wall is going to start. It's going to go all the way around. And actually next to this wall, we're going to start like a modern city on either of like both the sides of the wall. But this just the city in general is it's gonna take a while. So it's an evening stream, I guess. It's kind of weird. Go work, boys. Should I carry the design to inside, or I don't know? Oh my god! I don't have any arrows, do I? Joe! Okay, I don't really have to worry about them because these small boys can't hurt me. But I'm just going to because... Oh my. Oh my. Oh my god. Oh my god. That was so risky. Whew. I hear a skeleton, and I just don't know where it's at. I can literally hear it, just don't know where it's at. It's like in like some of the layers of those is just kind of aggravating, so I don't want to break all that down. Scooby Dooby Doo, we're coming after you. I saw that Mr. Hoofy. Let's go work on the quarry. I'm not sure, I don't think this is thunderstorm, but let's just see if it is, or this might be night too. Yeah, it's night. Actually, no, what should we work on, the quarry or the parkour? I don't know. Rain's gone though. So I just love occasionally just flying up just to see what this looks like from above. Look at all those like pathways. Or should we work on the volcano? Nah, I think we just need to work on the quarry for now. I don't have a mending on my shovel. Let's go to the village and get that. I love speed mining, dude. It's honestly like really satisfying. Ooh, I'm gonna search something on my phone and I'll have this playing in the background for you guys. I'll voice search it so you can hear it. Reddit scary stories. Ooh, let's make it spooky because it's all dark. Hopefully this doesn't get me demonetized. Well, I'm not even monetized. They'll monetize me just so they can demonetize me. I really want to start working on this more.
Warning, disturbing content. Viewer discretion is advised.
You guys heard that? Oh. Parents just told me they were heading out to go to a casino, so not gonna be home till like midnight. So.
Warning, disturbing content. Viewer discretion is advised. Serious, Reddit, what's your scariest, most disturbing true story? Not nearly as serious, but a little creepy. My neighbor is an old lady. She comes outside every once in a while to chat with passerbys and garden. The first conversation she had with my dad, she complimented the painting he is hanging in his bedroom. No big deal, she probably saw us moving it in, or glimpsed it at some point before we got curtains. But then she meets our dog and says, well, he's much scarier through the window, isn't he? Again, NBD, we know he has a habit of pushing aside blinds to stare outside. She comments on things like this often, asking us why we didn't walk our dog that morning or when we got a new sofa. But she's just an old lady, right? She's probably bored and outside a lot. Then she meets me. She swears she's already met me, but I had never seen her before in my life. She asks me how I like my room and tells me about the girls who had it before me. Weird, but okay. She rubbed me the wrong way, but I don't really mind. She's fairly easy to avoid. Or so I thought. As I was taking the dog outside, I happened to glance over and see her staring at me through the window. She lowers the blinds when she sees that we were childhood friends that grew up in the same Detroit suburb. I was thinking about an incident that had happened when I was in 2nd or 3rd grade, 30 years ago, and she says out of the blue, I don't know if you remember this, but the police started patrolling our neighborhood when we were in 2nd or 3rd grade because when I was walking home from school, 2 men in a blue pickup truck rolled down the window next to me and said, hey girl, you need a ride home, and one tried to grab me. I took off running, tearing through yards, and I told my mom, who called the cops and walked with me to the bus stop after that. I confessed that I was thinking about a time when my cousin Sean recently passed away, so he's been on my mind. Also, he was really smart, much smarter than I, and I were wandering around the neighborhood like kids did in the 80s. This blue pickup truck pulled up to us and one of the 2 guys asked us to hop in for a ride. Sean said no thanks and instructed me to sneak into a neighbor's back porch, luckily unlocked, and stay down. I whispered I was afraid we would get in trouble for not asking the neighbor for permission. Not the brightest kid, I would rather die than break the rules, I guess. And Sean goes, stay here and hide. Act like we went inside because we live here. One of the 2 guys got out of the truck and went into the yard to look for us. We laid low. About 15 minutes later he left. I look back on it now and think what a close call. We lived near the area of the Oakland County child killer, though in a much poorer neighbor than he targeted, and I've spent the last few nights reading about the case and thinking about that blue truck. A guy followed me home from the train station once. I think he still knows where I live. I got out of work and was waiting at the train station. I had my headphones in and was staring at the TV with the arrival/departure times. This guy suddenly appeared out of nowhere, got really close to my face, and asked me if I had a boyfriend. I said nothing and walked away quickly. He looked/smelled homeless and had these big, crazy eyes that were darting around the room as he spoke. He also had an erection, and had gotten so close that he'd spit on my cheek. There are weird people at train stations.
Wish she would have never said that, but okay.
After I get off
like I said, viewer discretion is advised, guys. And this channel is monetized, so I don't think I can get.
That I was listening to and wasn't paying attention to my surroundings. All of the buses were also very crowded. When I reached my stop and started to walk
He
home.
had an erection.
I noticed that the creepy guy got off the bus behind me. There was nobody else around, so ran home. When I got to my door and started to unlock it, he was standing at the end of my driveway. I was crying and fumbling with my keys. Then some of my neighbors pulled up in a truck, and I screamed, "Hello, sir. Help." Then the creepy guy turned and walked away into the woods. I called the police, but they didn't show up for a while. They had me write a statement, but seemed uninterested. My husband left work early and came home. We saw the creepy guy lingering around the neighborhood and walking past our house a few times in the following days, but he eventually stopped. Haven't seen him since. Myself and 6 friends, aged 18 to 28.
Imagine if like something German.
We're on a 5-day river canoe trip up a tributary of the Orinoco around Merida in Venezuela in 1998. Our guides were an older, 60s, rough-looking German guy and a slightly younger but shifty-looking Orinoco Basin Indian. One of our group knew fluent German, but for some unexplained reason, didn't share with the guide that she could speak it. Later told us she didn't want the creepy dude making comments to her that no one else could understand. We were 3 days in,
that's a coincidence.
the river, not having seen a village for at least 8 hours. The guides kinda kept themselves to themselves after dinner, which was fine. But this evening they were a bit further away and we could tell they were having a pretty heated discussion in a mix of German and local dialect. Suddenly, the German girl in the group turns white and looks terrified, and it takes us a few minutes to calm her down. She explained she heard the German guy talk about making sure the others will be at the place and they will have the guns, and that the crocodiles will get rid of the guys and the girls will go with them too. Some village. The day after next. We kinda freaked out, but decide that being alone with these 2 dudes days from anywhere in the middle of the fucking rainforest, we were pretty much trapped. We decided on a plan, which, fortunately, went our way. Early the next day, we decided that the next time we saw another canoe expedition pass us, we would essentially shout and scream at them that we were being kidnapped and needed help. Fortunately, a 4-canoe group came past and we enacted our plan. Our guides immediately just got the fuck out of there. Didn't even protest about our crazy accusations.
I'm absolutely sorry about this. I love this, like, Chris. I know I'm kind of like a kid-ish friendly channel, but like, if you guys don't do with bad language, just go ahead and leave the stream right now, or if you're watching this video back, just go ahead and leave it right now. Because I don't mind it, but it's just like some of my viewers are intended for a younger audience. But
targeting tourists going into the forest, active since 1996. I was never able to corroborate any of the info we were told.
I don't want to say my channel's for kids though.
Or internet searches.
Because I mean, it's not for kids at all.
Each other about our close
But,
call,
I mean,
but it's been 20 years and we've moved on with our lives.
Whoa,
I've never
that
told
scared
family or
me.
my wife, and I don't think anyone else ever told more than a handful of people. I was in Italy near the Alps when I was around 7, and I would walk down the hill to play with this kid. Or some equivalent, but they were everywhere. I was about to turn and run, but I saw a mass in the middle of the yard. I then realized it was the dog, just laying, covered in bugs. I thought it might be dead, but I ran to it and pulled on his collar. He just looked up at me, then put his head back down. I kept pulling and I was yelling for the neighbor kid. No one responded. I then convinced the dog to get up, and at this point bugs were also covering me and I was terrified. I pulled the dog into this shed and I hid in there with him and cried. I think I was in there for like 10 minutes and there was a knock. It was the neighbor looking at me through the window. He opened the door and started yelling at me, but I couldn't understand him. I looked behind him, and the yard that was previously covered in a plague of bugs was now empty. I tried explaining what happened, but it was all lost in translation. I didn't go back over there again. One day my friend and I were at Disney World. I'd renewed my ticket online, but had to take the paper up to the booth for a new pass. We're going to the Magic Kingdom, so we stopped by the ticket and transportation center because there isn't a line. Fast forward to later in the day and I start getting texts. Hey, Lay Love. How you doing? Weird, because it's from a number I don't recognize and they call me by name. I don't really hand around my number a lot, so it's odd, and I say hi person whose name isn't in my phone, so he says his name was Steven and asks what I'm doing with that ugly guy. Okay, so there are people who would know who I'm with, but it is very unlikely it would be anyone who would text me this. Also, I surprisingly know very few Stevens. The texts go back and forth for a bit with him saying not to worry, that I know him. He sends me a WDW badge that has Steven on it. Not sure if he was trying to play the odds on me knowing a Steven who works at WDW or what. And then says have a good day at the Magic Kingdom. This adds to the creep factor because we decided to go to MK as we were driving there. Neither of us remembers really telling anyone which park we ended up at. I say that I have no clue.
Oh, it's getting really laggy just because of all the dirt everywhere.
By this point, if I'm not catching that you're that Steven I actually know, and he sends back that I don't seem to care to find out and have a good day. So, I stop responding because this seems like a good place to end it. He sends me a maps of a screenshot from wherever he is to my home address with not a bad drive. So my friend and I start walking to guest services because this is obviously no joke and he's reasonably identified himself as an employee of theirs at this point. It is also worth mentioning that almost no one I knew at the time had my home address because I lived at home and didn't like having people over and bothering my family. The last message he sent me was LOL, well don't get too creeped out, I don't want to mess with you that much, I promise you that I am somebody you already know. He was the guy who printed my pass. In a transaction that took all of 2 minutes max, he decided that he should take my cell and home address off of my account. Disney fired him that day is my understanding, although they didn't really want to say too much. I think they started moving into liability control and even a cop came.
Okay, yeah, I need to go get some,
but I chose to file a report anyway.
Space in
Because
my inventory.
motherfucker had my home address. I end up getting a detective call later.
Oh my
tells me that I can
gosh.
press charges and I do. I kind of asked his opinion and without interjecting in either or, he said that based on how the guy messaged me, he's probably done it a lot but I'm the first one to connect the dots and do anything. Get a letter from the state's attorney and send it back that I'm still willing to testify. I've heard nothing since. I'm guessing among all our crazy FL cases, mine didn't justify much manpower. Luckily, I was at least able to put a face to it because the idiot had his cell phone connected to his Facebook account. I still get the heebie-jeebies looking through the messages years later. I kept them because the detective instructed me to. Even knowing that the
I forgot what chest it was under. I can set my fireworks
I feel
in.
reassured that I have them if anything did happen since he still has that address. It is almost funny that my friend at one point suggested
Oh, they're in my
that he was
inventory.
messaging
I'm
me,
dumb.
But at
Okay.
the MK point in the conversation, it was one of those outlandish wouldn't it be crazy if comments that turned out to be true. In high school, I and a buddy made the dumbass decision to smoke weed in a graveyard around 8 to 9 at night.
That's stupid.
Summertime, so it was just now getting dark. I smoked to the point of being totally out of it. We were just chilling next to a tree when I see a man walking down the graveyard. I got a little nervous immediately.
By the way, this channel is called
I then see the
Reddit
man pull out a
Aliens. If you
handgun
guys want to
aimed
go subscribe to that,
towards
it's pretty cool.
something. He didn't notice us at this point, and I couldn't see who or what he was aiming at. I was so terrified I thought I was mildly hallucinating. I couldn't even move. My friend hit my side and said, "Dude, this guy has a fucking gun out. We gotta get the fuck out of here." We both slowly got up, but like the stoned idiots we were, we hit a rock trying to get up and the man finally noticed us. He was a good 200 feet away from us, but the second he saw it he slowly moved towards us with the gun in his hand. We started running at this point. I looked behind my shoulder once and saw him start to run towards us as well. We booked it out of the graveyard and were finally back in my neighborhood. I was terrified for days after that. My girlfriend and I went to Walmart one night at about 11:30. We parked close with only one spot open to us on our left. As we were slowly making our ways down
Oh,
the
okay, that's a
grocery
big
aisles, I happened to notice
hole.
a guy out of the corner of my eye with no buggy or cart. When I looked over, he grabbed a box of something and stared intently at it. You know, not the kind of absent-minded I am shopping kind of look. I make a side note of it, and we continue down a few more aisles. After seeing the man in our aisles and vicinity a few more times, I tell my girlfriend to let's go aimlessly wander around other parts of the store for a bit, so I could gauge if my suspicions are correct. About 30 minutes later, we end up at the self-checkout. Guess who is sitting on the bench in front of the self-checkout with no bags? I think to myself, maybe coincidence, maybe not. As we leave the Walmart, all of a sudden I get this feeling and tell my girlfriend to stop, and I stop abruptly as well. When I turn around, this guy has almost run into us. He was following so closely and we had stopped so abruptly. He stared at me like a deer in headlights, and so did I, because I couldn't really mentally process the implications of what he, presumably, intended to do.
Just got mad. I should gonna turn this off. There's too much foul language. It's probably Bad Boy Halo when I say it like that. Grr, I'm a tiger. That's cringy as hell. That's the cringiest crap I've ever said in my life. God. I'm a tiger. War. That's cringy as hell. Ah. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, my electro broke. Psych, you thought. And actually came over here so I can repair my my pickaxe. Oh, the what's it called? That's still running. I heard it on the way down. Yep. It's all done by now. See, there's nothing more to put. Yeah. Well, I think that's actually a pretty decent place to end the stream, though. Well, I do hope you guys do enjoy my streams. If you do, make sure to smash the like button. Please subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. Let's get 60 subscribers before the end of this year. And, yeah, I love you all. And as always, what's your opinion? See you guys.